This is an old song my sister used to do. Jeremy? Yes, church, I love this. Let's have a good time. Talking about a good time. We're gonna have a time. Talking about a real good time. We're gonna have a time. Talking about a good time. We're gonna have a time. When we all get together, we're gonna have a good time. We started back in the 60s, I put it that way. I don't know exactly the date, but we got started. It was consist of myself, my mother, Frances, Myrtle, Bobby, Catherine, and Becky. We didn't have no bass guitar. We didn't have nothing but one lead, and it wasn't really good. But we took that what we had. We made a lot of programs. We started off at the Church of God in Christ Jesus in Roxboro, where we started off from, right there, and we just bloomed out. Some joined, some was leaving, some joined, some leaving. But my mother stayed in there for about at least 15 years, I know. She stayed with us for 15 years, sung with us. Everywhere we went, we dragged her right along with us. And she just get to shout and shout all over the place. It looked like she just didn't have no bones when she get to shout. But anyway, we enjoyed that back then, and then still enjoying it now. Then I sung with the St. Luke for 17 years, if I ain't mistaken. Still back and forth with the Torain Family. All these years. Then after the Torain Family put that group together, they had another group, but it was not the Torain Family, it was the Gospel Harmonettes. It was three groups right there in one. It was Harmonette, with Torain Harmonettes, and the St. Luke Gospel Singer. One sang this time, the other sang then, you gotta go back and sing two more times. That's what we did for years. And we enjoyed it too. Yeah, for a long time we sung like that. Then I got grown, got married.
My name is Torain, and I've been singing with so many groups, just about can't keep up with them, but I know some of them. The first group I started with was the Torain Family, but I was young at the time. I was following behind my brother, trying to look at him play lead, and following behind my other brother. Bless his heart, he's dead and gone, but them two I was looking at. And my first guitar is a stick with some bring ties, strings on them. I bring a tie, put the strings on a stick back that long. Started with that, banging, I don't know what I was doing. And I started on, and I kept on. Then I started with the new St. Luke. Back then it was the St. Luke Gospel Singer, but we the new St. Luke Gospel Singer, different people sang with us.
I enjoy singing with my family, and I enjoy praising God. And whenever they have a praise, I try to be there, just to praise God. If not there. Like I said, I love praising, I love Jesus, and I love my family. I just enjoy singing with the group. And I thank God. And now I'm a bongo player. I play bongos and play a little bit of drum on the side. This guy right here, he can play lead guitar, and also he can play drums, and also he can play bass guitar and piano, organ.
Wow.
And I'm saying to myself, that
You ain't got none of it.
why can't somebody teach me some of these things? You know? But he can play organ, keyboard, drums, and he play all the instruments.
Me and my sister Frank, we used to sing, go to program, just us three. And Franklin, he'd be with us. And sometimes we'll sing, and we have people to play for us. And we go to like 2 churches that Sunday. And we couldn't find nobody else to go with us. But when we did, we went, we sung, and we tore the church up. And then we ease on out. Then we go to another singer, the same thing. Then like next Sunday we had like about 2 or 3 cars with us. And we enjoy that. And sometimes we go down a dead end road, trying to find a church. But we couldn't find it. We went down a dead end road, stopping at the service station, asking people for a direction. And they would give it to us and we'd find the church. We go in and sing and just enjoy ourselves. And LaFrank was still with us. He be tagging along with us. Sometimes he be up in the floor shouting, carrying on. But he was small, so we enjoyed that.
Yeah, I remember when I was 23 years old, sang with the Torain Family, Lord have mercy. And we would get back, start singing, and Frances, my sister, she reached and grabbed me and put her right beside her and looked right in my mouth. She was saying, oh, whoa. And my first song was Two Wings I Can Fly Away. And I did it pretty good without some kind of hair.
Can we hear a little bit of it?
No.
My name is Victor Torain. I think I started back when I was about 5. My Aunt Frances was very coherent about notes. She could tell if you were flat or whatever, and as a child I'm trying to understand, and the only way she could teach me how to sing not flat was she would hold my nose. And then as I got older, instead of her holding my nose, she would pull on my ear and she's like, you're singing flat. So it just kind of made sense at that time. But I learned a lot from them. My uncle, I think that's where I started to feel the groove in singing.
Victor was not shame. He was not shamefaced. That joker would sing up there. He make all of us look shame. Yeah, cause he's just sort of like his nephew right here. They's not shamefaced. They'll do it. If they have to do it, they'll do it.
Yeah, because it was like a love that I had for music. Anytime I was around music, even at home, Mom would tell me, Victor, turn that music off, because I have it on like all day. Just playing something.
Not only music, they're hand clapping.
Yeah. Yeah. I get into my music. So I have enjoyed being with this family. I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. They have taken me some places I probably would have never been. And now, ever since my aunt passed, the one that actually was the strong part of the group, a whole generation has changed. And now we're in a whole new sound, we're in a whole new look, we're just in a whole new everything. But we kept the same standards that we learned. We go to programs, we don't care if we first or we last, we still gotta sing.
All this singing, we had to go like 3 and 4 services in one Sunday. And I'm not joking, 3 and 4 get home about 11 o'clock. But thank God for Frances, because she kept that chicken, that rice, and then homemade biscuits. That's what we ate on when we couldn't go home. And we think we made it too, because we were some starving kids. And so, if we didn't have music, somebody to back us up, to play for us, I didn't want to sing. You know what I'm saying? Then sometimes I didn't want to sing because Mama, Frances, God rest her soul, she'll just come out with anything. Only thing we knew was when she gets the mic, you better be ready to sing because she's not waiting for nothing. You gonna learn it that day. And so, we just singing and singing. I'm mad, got a frown on my face. I'm like, we up here sounding a mess because she just popped out with anything. And that's how she was. And then another thing, she didn't sing but like 2 minutes. By the time we get into the song, she gone. We got to go sit down, and everybody like, Francis, that's too short. She didn't care. She tear the whole church up, and she didn't care. She sung what she sung and sat there and left them hanging, left us hanging too. But then, I began to love it. I really did, because it was just a part of who we are, and I grew up around it, from my aunts and uncles and my brother Victor.
Back when me and the older one was singing, I was playing lead guitar. And then whenever I want somebody to play bass, you might find somebody that would come and play. But then I messed around and taught my son, Calvin, which is over there. He couldn't play a lick. But I told him where to put his finger. I was playing lead singing too. Told him where to put his finger and he would do that. And then I told him where to go to the next note. He'd go to the next note, just like that. That's how he got started. Then it was just us in the Torain family. We had our own musician and had our singer for years.
I'm Calvin Torain, former bass player of the Torain family, son of Thomas and Lee Torain. I got started, as Aunt Becky could say, them programs she talking about, man, we used to sit on them front pews. I used to sit back and just be in awe of my dad and them and all the Torain family up there, they be singing. It just something captured my imagination, so I'm like, wow, okay, this might be it. Then we used to help Uncle Frank told in he had one snare drum. Did he have a hi-hat? A stool and a hi-hat. That's all he had for the longest. And when they had one lead guitar player, but we had the most fun helping them tote that equipment in. I think that's what jumped on us. And as we got older, man, when I learned how to pick up and walk that first tune, it was a ball game. I remember when one time at rehearsal, me, Franklin, Calvin, Uncle Thomas, you think Uncle Ponzio was there. And we were done, but we were playing around with this one song that Rufus Poole used to sing, and it was I Know a Man. And so I remember Calvin on the bass, and he was saying, Victor, look, try it this way. He slowed it down. It was kind of a fast song, but he slowed it down. And then Franklin caught on to it, and he fell into, and before we knew it, we had redid the whole song. Just the four of us right there. We began to sing that song, and I tell you, it's like every funeral I go to, I have to sing that song.
Hi, my name is Sterling Torain. My family calls me Fella.
Hello.
I am a second generation Torain family member. I can sing all three parts. So my grandfather is Henry Jr. Torain. My grandmother is Henrietta Torain. My grandfather is a sibling of Francis and Thomas and Ponzel. Back then, they didn't let the children sing with the Torain family. It was just the adults. And I'm telling you, they was rocking now. And the one thing that always stood out to the kids is the outfit. And so my aunt, I think she had told like kids and them and Michelle and Lil Becky to go get us outfits so we can sing at the anniversary. And our cousin Lil Becky, she came up with the name the Christian Voices. Mm-hmm. So we were like the kids of the Torain family, and we sung just like they did and things like that until everybody get older and did their own thing. And so I remember when I was 9 years old and my sister had passed, and like while we was going through the process of the hospital and everything, my aunts, uncles, all of them were there, and they was like teaching us how to pray. We would sing songs in the waiting room. People would come and say, "Who is that? What y'all doing?" You know, things like that. And those kind of things that I carried with me through middle school, high school, college. You know, sung in all different kind of groups, choirs, and all that thing. Now I'm the minister of music in my church and the main praise and worship leader. So that foundation I have always kept with me, and now I'm singing with the family full time. So it's been a great experience.
I've probably been singing with the group. Fella said that the kids couldn't sing, but for some reason, they let me sing when I was starting to walk. Me and Sherika and Mitzi, were in the front, right by my mom. I remember I watched Frances take this white towel and wipe her sweat off. And my mom would give me this little white towel, and I had it too. Didn't know what I was doing. I don't know who has that video, but I was completely lost. And then, of course, my Uncle Frank died when I was 3. So my Uncle Ponzel, I would watch him play drums because he was playing for everybody at that point. And I was like, oh my God, I wanted to do this. And I remember one time he played some, I don't know what this song was. It was a slow song at church. And we went to Clay Road right after that. And somebody was singing that same slow song. And I was like, you know what? I can go play that song. I got up there, got on the drums. I don't know who that usher was. But she tapped me. And she was like, hey man, your uncle said you can't play that song. You need to come sit down. That was him. He told me I won't playing it right. Hurt my feelings to the core. Because I feel like I got embarrassed because there was so many people at Clay Road that day. And, you know. So, anyway, so when I started playing drums, I didn't have a snare. Did not have one snare. We went to a church. I'm not going to name the church. Went to a church. When the drummer got up before we got to sing, he took the snare off.
I remember that song.
And I went up and said, hey, can I use your snare? No, can't use my snare. I paid money for this. Nope. And the church didn't have a snare. It was the church's drum set, but they didn't have a snare. Hurt my feelings once again. My mom was like, don't worry about it. We went to the pawn shop uptown Roxboro. And I had a blue snare, sparkling. The baddest thing I ever thought I did have. But I was still young. And I'm going to be honest, Sunday morning, my grandma, she went to church every day. And I was like, I just did not want to go to church. Even though I had a drum. At the time, Calvin and Uncle Thomas weren't there yet. So it was just me. And I just didn't want to go to church. And I remember I would sneak out my grandmother's house when the church van was coming. And I would go around the Bobby house and just wait. And then I would come back around and I would peek out the side of the building. Oh my God. And the church van is still there. I'm like, why they haven't left yet? Francis can see me. Peeking out there. Get in this church van, boy. Oh so we get to church. I'm like, I still don't want to be here. So, and then when Uncle Thomas and Calvin came, I was like, you know what? I got music now. So I'm going to start playing. And then that's how I learned. Uncle Thomas actually gave me my first ever, I guess, gig, you want to say, with the Mighty Inspirations all the way in Chapel Hill, downtown. First ever gig I ever played.
Wow.
Yeah. Next day, he handed me $100. I didn't know what that was. But like I said, still playing drums. And then when Uncle Thomas and Calvin left, I was by myself. And I was like, there is no way. I knew I had friends that could play guitar, keyboard. I couldn't do it. I didn't know how to play it. So I started going to Clegg's Chapel and started listening to Cynthia Dixon. And I was like, wow, what is she playing? And I would just try to imitate the note. Just like, Frank, you're doing good. Just keep trying. And then one night she called me. She said, hey, Frank, we're having our youth explosion, and I want you to play. I was like, cool. I'm thinking I'm playing drums. You got to learn. So my first song was He'll Take the Pain Away.
Oh, wow.
And I still watch that video sometimes, and I'm seeing it now, I'm like, oh my goodness. But she kept pushing. And I would go to a lot of places, and Frank, you don't sound good. Antoine, Ronald Timmons, he was definitely, he was the one that critiqued me in the negative way to make me better. He would tell me, hey, you're not sweet, man. This ain't it.
That's what you say.
He would literally tell me like that. Hey man, you're not sweet. So I would go to his house. We would hang out every weekend. I would go to his house and try to learn something new, different chords, different progressions, and just, I mean, that's what him and Cynthia is the main two. So then Brandon Day was actually my real piano teacher. He's the actual one that sat in front of me on the other side of a keyboard. No, Frank, it's this note, this note. And then I would go home, as they say, go in the woodshed and just practice. Because they always say you make the bad notes at home. So when you go out in public, you don't make the bad notes. So I just learned from there, and then just kept going. I was like, you know what? Let me try to implement this with my family. So a lot of times with my Aunt Frances, she'll look at me too. She'll look at me twice, and no, that ain't it. You got to try something else. So just learning from that and just growing, and then I don't know what happened. Of course, it was God. It just my plan just elevated. I don't know how it just happened.
My Uncle Frank, which was my mama's twin, he passed away in 1988. And Franklin, he was 3 years old. He used to put Franklin on his lap, you know, at church, during church service. And that's how little Franklin started learning to play the drums. And I remember me and my Aunt Becky, we were sitting in the car because we didn't want to stay into the church. You know, so we outside, you know, they was preaching. Little Frank was outside behind my aunt's car. So me and Becky, we sitting in the car, and after a while, we hear some talking, and we look back, you know, and nobody's out there but Franklin. And so we asked Frank, we said, little Franklin, who are you talking to? He said, I'm talking to my Uncle Frank, the one that had passed on. He said, I'm talking to my Uncle Frank. And he said, we said, what did he say? He said for me to tell y'all to get in that church. Get back in the church. And you know what we did? We looked at each other. We didn't say a word. We got out of the car, went into church, and didn't come out until service was over with. And so that's why I knew then that this guy right here, Frank, he's gifted, you know. And I remember at one time, you know, we didn't have no musicians. If it weren't for him, you know, we wouldn't have anybody. So as we got older and started singing more, Franklin, being a musician, you know, he started playing the keyboard. He introduced us to a whole new sound, you know, and it just blew us away because we learned to sing with the music that he brought. And you know, he brought us a bass player, he brought us a lead guitar player, he brought us another keyboard player, he brought us another lead guitar, he brought us another drummer, and he just gave us a whole band.
We have been blessed because the musicians are within the family. This young man right here just blew me away when I came from college. When I saw him, he was coming off of the drums and he was on the keyboard. It just blew me away because we have been praying for a musician in the family, not to come in this family, but in this family. And I had no idea that was him.
I did. My pastor, Bishop Mary Black,
Come on here now.
prophesied to me. She said, when you have that child, go see him. He gonna be our musician.
Wow.
He gonna be on the keyboard. And
It's happened.
it happened.
That's
It came to
exactly
pass.
what happened.
It came to pass.
I mean, when this change you were talking about, he came to me with this song, and it was the Lord will make a way somehow. I was listening to it, I was like, we don't even sound like that. I was like,
Talking about Javale Small.
yeah, I was like, is that what we gonna sound? And it had to grow on me. But I remember one thing that Uncle Thomas always told me. He said, you make that song your song. You ain't gotta do it like him. You do it like you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I listened to that song, and before I knew it, God had put a whole twist on it, and it just took off.
And when that song came out, we were all going through something.
Yeah,
So,
and you know, we at that time, like she was saying, everybody was in some form of complications in life, and we were making our way through it, and that song just showed up right on time.
3 years ago, I had a stroke, and we was at rehearsal or whatever, and I don't know what happened. I couldn't get the note out, or I don't know. Then
Blame it on me. I was pushing.
right, and Frank was like, "Sing the note, kids." I was like, "I can't get it out," and I went in the bathroom, and I just stood there. And then I came back out, but then I don't know exactly what happened. I know I ended up going to the emergency room and let them know that I was, you know, they asked me what was going on or whatever. But the more I talked, the more my mouth was twisting. I don't know what happened after that because they put me in a medical coma and life flighted me to Duke Hospital.
That third day.
That third day, I remember the third day we went to see her. And I was just, because we had seen her the day before, and I was like, I'm dreading going to see her out with all this tube and stuff in her. I just got sick of that. And I just got tired of looking at it. So, but we were going to push it in anyway. So we got there. We turned around in the room. She's sitting up eating. And I'm like, we were blown away. She was just like nothing happened. God is amazing. I'm telling you. We've seen that with our own eyes. He did that. He did that.
She didn't know she was in the world.
Now when we go sing, I try to get her to tell it. She won't tell it. But I'm going to help her tell it until she tells it. Because people, I think that is what keeps people going, is seeing how other people got through what they've been through.
3 days later, this young lady was sitting up eating and like nothing had ever happened. God is a God of miraculous things. Don't doubt him. Don't doubt him.
I started singing when I was maybe 4, but I think I can remember me at like 3 or 2 standing up with the Torain Family with my little tambourine, just beating and just singing my heart out. My very first song was Searching. I got it from Victor. The first time I heard it, I'm like, I like this song. And then he taught me, and I've been singing that for maybe, 2 years? I'm 13, so maybe
4 years. I guess
4 years. Yeah. I was singing just that song. Well, I have a single out. It's called Thank You. One of my good friends, he wrote it. His name is Prophet. And yeah, it's out now. It's on Amazon Music, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, It's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. What that song you do now about?
Please Forgive Me.
Yes, that's the one.
About Willie Banks.
Yes.
Well, we just
he do it his own way. His style. Yes.
My name is Tonio Torain. Son of Calvin Torain. So that's my granddad right there, my grandma back there. I was interested in playing drums at the age of 5 years old because they was in a group called the Mighty Gospel Inspiration. And there was this guy on the drums named Kez. And seeing him play just had me interested, and I was motivated to play too. So I remember my other granddaddy bought me a red set. And I used to play on it all the time. So, I was always travel with them up the road, playing with seeing their group. They was on stages. I used to watch the Torain Family at the time. Frank was playing drums for the Torain Family too. So Frank showed me what I need to know playing drums as well. I became a full-time member of the Torain Family 4 years ago. And ever since then, I just love it. It's been a great adventure.
When he was, how tall Tonio was? He was a little bitty fella, and he could take any kind of sticks. He finds some sticks outside, any kind of sticks, and get upside of a chair and go all day long. That's him all day long.
When they go to show, I'm really, so like I just love doing what I do.
And I must also add now, when I hear him live, I can tell they the one in vain.
Yes,
yeah, I can tell they the one in vain. Him beating that L, I said, okay, good God Almighty, boy, all right.
Yeah. He's taking his talent to a whole nother
level. He truly has. It's the air guitar. The air drum showed me something too. The air drum. Anybody, the air guitar, anybody can walk around and do that. Yeah. But he always had that air drum, man. It was something to behold.
Took my drumsticks with me everywhere I went to.
No matter what was going on, Tony, you put Tonio. He sitting over there beating out. That years ago beating out. And you see him now, he's like, okay.
He's endorsed by a cymbal company.
Oh yeah, that's right.
By Soul.
That's the sound we were talking about. They created it.
In quartet, gospel. You have to adapt to change.
Yes. I agree to that.
I know Uncle Thomas, Uncle Ponze, Uncle Nate, my mom, they're used to a different style. We are trying to cross over to the younger generation. And we know they like a bunch of music. You've never heard of. Like, what did they just play? Because we want them to come too. My son is the prime example. He has a certain sound about him. Only a couple of weeks ago, a guy walked up to him and said his son is going around the house singing the songs that he sings. And then he's looking up to him. Look, kid. Because he watches him on Facebook. He goes to programs. And I tell my son all the time, you never know who's looking, who's watching. You never know. You never know when somebody's sick or down and out in church and they need that song that you say to uplift them.
Victor comes to my church on Sunday morning, which he don't have to, but he come.
I want to.
And when he hit that door, he knew what he gonna have to sing a song. And Victor sing by himself or either with a crowd. It don't matter with him. He give his all to God when he sing. He just have everybody in the church crying. I'm the biggest cry in the church. And I'll be up down there, tear just running. But you can't help it when this man sings. It's the anointing. The anointing behind his songs. And he been doing it for years. For years. He ain't ashamed of nothing. That boy ain't shaming nobody. He'll sing anywhere. It don't matter. See, he got me tearing up already. Talking about it. Just make me feel good. When I got a nephew who can do that. Anybody can do it. Who can do it? Do it. Look, if we can do it, we need to do it. We don't need to hold back on nothing we do. We need to put everything we got forward. Go forward with it. Don't try to hold back. Go forward with it. And it'll come out right too.
And it has.
Yes, it will. Yeah, it'll work. It done worked for me so many years.
And this family, if we were to get together and stick together, it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing.
That's right. Can you do?